chat was mentioning that too, while Maryville picked Haven for Sentinels Cubert Academy when they looked so good previously against Envy yesterday. So I like how both of these teams are kind of just over preparing and trying to anti-strat as much as they could against their opponents. And now going into Icebox, yes, this is a composition here that was maybe picked by 100 Thieves in the past that Dan Giant mentioned, but there's also a reason why that they started batting it a little bit more in that stage too, as that it feels like they weren't really able to find real coordination out of that Gecko with the rest of the comp. That said, maybe it's going to be a different story this time for Cubert Academy as they start off on the attack side, and hopefully they'll be able to topple down the Maryville University defense as they have two guys on the yellow side with a top bottom. And that's why you have this Omen on the smoke and a Gecko. This is some standard scale that you have with this composition too, to go bit by bit and now try to run outside from this smoke.
Yeah, Gecko's been a bit more of a hot button issue lately for Icebox, and the double initiator comp that Cubert runs with it definitely helps its cause. And yet again, very close to this on yellow, and Redux is just going to jump into it and take that down. You have Satellite kind of watching around as this spike will go down pretty quickly, and Satellite will engage Giza as well, so that'll be a nice little stall 1v1 as the rest of the fight goes on, but Ren's getting ahead of the screen, and Giza taking care of Satellite means that Maryville can start going forward, and Ren's, gets all of it!
What? That was just the 1, 2, 3, and you're TKO'd. You're just on towards the yellow. And it almost I'm looking at the mini map right now. It almost felt like the wall was coming down and they were trying to cycle the smoke with the throw from Redux, but maybe there was a timing where there was a gap between and Ren saw them all and picked them off. I hope we're gonna see it on replay, but if not, at least we could imagine it, and we know that it was some crazy shots coming out from Ren's. That's 4 kills, a defuse, an outlaw for the second round, and not a great start for Cubert, even when they got opening kill and opening pick into yellow.
Yeah, that's quite the stopper out the gate here for MU. A real shame that we're not able to see it. But
oh, good. Yeah, close your eyes. Imagine it.
Finding the opening. Yeah, I'm sure you can have a good idea of what that was like. Cubert gonna try and speed things up here, execute onto one they know is ahead of things, and it's once again Ange, but they can't manage to find enough bullets to spray it down, and now Cloric here to play the reaction fire and do a bit of chip himself. Gonna be able to finish off Nismo as Cubert is just gonna try and double forward, get as much as they can before the board is cleared back out. Giza here just in time to slap back as the rest of Cubert. That front line tries to sway back, healed away as MU will get their own press forward going, and that'll leave Satellite on his own very quickly. Maryville will prevent much more action from happening, keep 3 standing for the follow-up.
He already had Ren's getting closer to an ult, but this time it's Giza. He gets 3 kills in a round of defuse, already has a res and a bonus turn for Maryville University. And Cubert, I mean, it's understandable. You're going on to an eco, you're trying to brute force your way in towards that B site. Great value still comes out of Nismo with these flashes and these assists that he's getting to allow Cubert Academy to get into the sites and at least for a plant to build up the econ. As you can see, beautiful flash there onto Cloric, even though he got that kill while he was blinded. But this now shows how difficult it is to play against a red hot team that's kind of just feeling it from that first map. Even though they're using a standard comp that looks quite simple, sometimes simple is the recipe here to success. Makes the tastiest pies.
You got pies on the brain right now.
I hope I don't have pies in the server for the players. That's what I want. I want to make sure everybody has a good game in this second map, because this is still elimination game for both Cubert and Maryville University.
Yeah, eyes up. This can't be a mental boon for Cubert. Don't want to see their season end like this, even though they do have some more Valorant to play this year at the very least. Good start for Maryville, though, as Cloric's found the gap. Knights found on the extension, and again, only the spike is going to be able to make any space. Apart from that, Maryville can just go for the slow take back.
And with this comp, it's always easier to plant, but still very difficult to retake. You got to be pristine on your util so far.
Just kind of spraying through. Another flash to allow Nismo to get back out, and that gives Caillou a free frag, too. Barrier setup will give Ren some time, and Wildfire's made his way up, runs right into Caillou, though. And with the barrier opened up, Ren's in the battle against Caillou, against the Thrash now is going to get sent out just to guarantee, and that should do it. Yeah, Caillou doesn't even have to engage. So Cubert will take the bonus here, but only one man standing? No, nothing at all, actually. So a lot of damage done.
At least it makes him dive to the spike too, but Caillou was just trying to play the clock and also trying to potentially even save his weapon towards the end, because remember, this is a bonus round for Maryville University, so it's more important for Caillou to stay alive with the weapon and to let Renz die to the spike than vice versa. Now they all died, and there's still a pretty decent buy that comes out of Hubert Academy because all of the amount of plants that they had. Remember, that's 3 plants in a row, so that's 600 credits that you're carrying over from round to round. But this half shield that you have, I mean, it would make sense if you have Renz coming out with the Outlaw, but instead, he's playing with the Blade Storm. Is he trying to updraft from spawn somehow? Where is he set up? Right here.
And this is a little laid back. I'm playing uber safe even after that first blood.
Yeah. I guess he was just waiting towards spawn to see what audio cues he's hearing so he could fast rotate, but that's a little bit interesting. You could see that he didn't use any of that util from the beginning here as the barriers came up, but they are still set up. Triple high-low. And that duped so many players.
Wow, yeah, that Dizzy is doing work. And yet, Hubert can't really do anything with it, so they've just got to play into a 5v3, keep shooting their way through. And Ange has yet again gone way too far up the lane. Almost finds the dink into the kill too, but Knights is too far out and that Phantom can't fully take him down. Rested Hubert is just going to walk right through that snakebite to try to finish off this Viper's lower health pool, but he's playing with yellow and he's got help again. Renz on these blades will have rotated at the right time, but can't hit a thing. And so Hubert have another opening. Ange finally taken down, and that spike having more than enough room to be able to go down. Still though, Chlora can get a couple kills out of this with Nismo and Knights so bloody low.
I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on because in my minimap the spike was still towards pipes on A. Like,
yeah, it was still over on A.
All right, so we got a little bit of shenanigans going on with the minimap today here, chat. But at least it's still a nice pullback from Hubert Academy rotating towards this B side. I think you nailed it right there, Tenric, by saying that we had an overextension out from. I think that was what, Wildfire that was moving in from that corner at the garage side. No, it was Ange, right? That's why you threw the snake bite and fell back.
It's been always Ange.
Yeah, so it was just a little bit difficult here for him to get correct footing, and he was trying to delay as much as he could so that the rest could rotate across. And it's understandable because they were so extended on that high-low over on the other extremity on the other side that you're hoping to at least slow it down from a more forward position and just more reactively towards yellow. So that was the name of the game. Unfortunately, Hubert Academy, they didn't get picked off. They didn't get surprised here by that position from Ange, and they're able to capitalize on that plant and even the round win. Leading now, the only weapon carried over for the next round for Maryville is that Vandal safe behind, and you're gonna give it to Renz because he's been red hot so far at the beginning of this game. 7-0 until he died on that previous round.
And again, B lane feels like the vulnerable spot where Maryville want to try to cash in early. Well, Giza will just set up the barrier orb for the pressure on that ult orb.
I'll take it. I mean, right now you're just trying to farm it on both sides. Giza even blocked that wall at the very beginning too, so that he could just slow things down and delay on that spot. I'd like to say usually this should be an easy round for Hubert Academy, but I've seen these shares before on that previous map of Haven from coming out from MU. And they're watching both angles in the back of that site.
Yeah, if anything, Maryville play more to form in situations like these because they know Icebox is just such a shooting range. But Wildfire's kept out thanks to the smoke thrown by Redux there up to heaven. So you have a free site, free 5v4. Probably nothing more invested from MU other than just going for it.
And the thing that helped really for Hubert to take that site was that molly being thrown by Nismo just behind on top of that smoke, so it didn't really allow that left and right angle to be watched, and Wildfire was kind of left on out in the open.
Yeah, isolated way too quickly by that tandem util. Nismo, I mean, we say this every time he picks the guy, but he might be the best KO in the world right now, and especially on Icebox, he is unreal.
And I think the joke is he is the best KO in the world because who plays KO now? unless you're like Ange or Ethan if you're playing Corrode, but no, the jokes aside, it is definitely showing for sure that, you know, they make it work with whatever they're comfortable with in terms of agents and compositions. And props as well to Qbert Academy with the synergy to be able to play around this KO. There's always still good value that you get. You could already see the value that Nismo gets from his flashes. Already with 5 rounds played, he's at 9 assists, and that's not just spawning people with a KO knife. He's doing a lot of these pop flashes and getting good value out of that. I think he dropped over 20 assists on that third map on Lotus against Envy yesterday.
He's been a key enabler for this team all year, and yeah, those flash drives feel like the most important part of that for him, the most ubiquitous.
Yeah.
And it's let Qbert gain a lot of distance very quickly on a Maryville that's used to letting sight go pretty early on and being able to explode on the turn back. It's just gun-wise, they haven't just, you know, had very many rounds where they can justify something like that. Instead, just go for the exits because you don't want to give too many orbs over to a Qbert that has every advantage in the book. Maryville is walking into this map seeing it as pretty unlocked, honestly. It feels like a lot of the time they're keeping their playstyle a little rigid, keeping themselves a little confined to just the flowchart, saying, you know, there's just too heavy of a chance that we give too much over to Qbert if we decide to play into this from weakness. So we should just go for this reset and allow the lead to be taken.
And from Qbert's side, it's pretty standard too, where they're forcing a lot of these extremity pressures and not too much for the mid lurks. I think it might happen later on. So far, though, at the beginning of this round, they break wall. I think they also broke turret from Cloric on the top of Boiler. So it keeps everybody at bay and very passive on the side of the defense, and that's what happens. You're able to get flooded over by Qbert Academy once again. And now you get a free plant and even a thrash for the second round.
Yeah, null command plus the thrash, you're able to multitask, kind of set up shop as the spike is going down, despite the fact that you still only have 4 active. And also no cycle with satellite, so it's gotta really be Knights and Caillou that get a little overactive. Nismo doesn't have any more flashes either, so it's you can't reset fights. You just have to play preventative if you're Qbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, MU, I mean, they flowcharted it. They're too far back, one person down, too much in your way, not enough time. Get out of here.
And you see how annoying that was from Renz just trying to find a pick. As soon as the smoke dissipates, the Viper wall comes up, and then it's another smoke coming down, and almost a flawless round for Qbert Academy within the next few rounds. That said, though, there hasn't been too much in terms of what MU was able to do to get the greatest value out of the Sage Res or even a Blade Storm from Giza and Renz, because those were kind of like the only 2 activating so far, while the rest still had to like try to catch up within these rounds. So the big swing rounds are going to start happening here in this round number 7 and 8 when Ange and also Wildfire are getting close to their own ults. I wouldn't be surprised here if they're going to start setting up some trap plays around the Sage and also the Sova, with how they've been continuously putting these walls up towards that front side B site. I think expect Giza to play that side when Wildfire is going to have his ult active in a couple of rounds.
Yeah. These are the moments where Maryville is going to be able to try and gain an edge. It's like the one opening you get when the attack is so decisive. Satellite's already left mid with this op. That's a quick step away. And Dizzy, wow. Ange just continuing to stick around.
That's the beauty of Icebox. You have these hot points that you're actually playing, trying to play around that map. Obvious spams towards yellow, behind the walls, especially if you're trying to punish a snake bite delay here coming out from the defense. And I think MU is going to start focusing a little bit more of that defense towards this left side. Wildfire needs to activate, though. They need this Hunter's Fury for the next round.
Yellow, once again, the big talking point. It's Caillou on first letter of control. Pretty nice wall of fire here. Yeah, and Wildfire can only play the backside. Nisma's already crept into that. Holding onto one rifle and hightailing it. So once again, pretty cut and dry against the weaker economy. MU still do have a little more on the table when it comes to ultis. So like you said, this is the opportunity that Maryville has to kind of play into Qbert's traps a little heavier and just scare him again.
And look at that. We've played 7 rounds so far, and 7 rounds has been scenarios on post plants. And it was rather difficult because you're going at the pistol round where you don't have too much util to work with. If you're playing a KO, most likely Nismo plays a flash and a ghost, or he plays like classics double flash, something, but you don't have too much to delay here into the pulse plants. And you saw how Renz and Giza kind of activated in the first 2 rounds. But once you started getting that money for the team, and at the same time working the map and not necessarily pulling rotates, but just figuring out where Ange is kind of playing and punishing him right off the spot, it makes it very difficult now for Maryville University to get some strong footing, especially in these retakes. You were just mentioning on the desk as well that MU loves to play and are quite strong to play these flood retakes, but when you're already losing a player in the process, and also a lot of map control because of these forward positions that are getting picked off, you're forcing the rest of the teams on these rotate to clear more corners, hence losing more time, hence making mistakes when they're actually going for the hit into the B site. And everything's just working out here for Qbert, so you just got to be a little bit more clean. But I was going to mention here, sorry, turn around to cut you real quick.
No, you're good.
We talked about the Hunter's Fury available here for Wildfire, but we're not trying to go for that trap with the wall if it gets broken to Hunter's Fury through that. He's actually playing from B main just to try to get early info for that side for the team.
Swarm grenade out.
Yeah, it feels like if anything, Maryville wants to like stop doing as much posting up and just play for the same level of like sequential intel where you're forcing Qbert to continue clearing. Just don't make it as dangerous. But Qbert going pretty quickly into A this time and playing screens beautifully this moment. Renz gets the opener, and that'll justify the Hunter's Fury. Wildfire has enough intel to clear 1 on each side, I suppose. Yeah, go ahead and use 2 ultis this round. We might as well, especially now that Knights has crept in on Renz and made this winnable again for Qbert. They'll reset the fight, minute on the clock, and MU too scared to dive in. They'd rather explode on the retake.
A little bit of a waste there because the res was used after a TK's Hunter Fury.
Yeah, just to get him back.
That's so funny.
TP's faked, but they'll still go for the rotation. What is this? Are you trying to just sell a split again, or that
timing
was
on
rough
that
timing?
Yeah, I think that was the thing. The first one, if he was able to stick it towards that back spawn, the other 2 are just going to try to slowly clear towards middle, and then Knights cuts to rotate. But as he gets canceled out and they're still trying to spot where their opponents are, it's just a contact, try to get the plant up, and then hopefully it still falls back on your side here to be able to play that pulse plant.
And after that's proc, they expect somebody to contest this, but no. They have to hold it. Qbert don't know how much time they have, so, you know, they'll just turn tail to the lane. Play pretty default again. And yet MU, they don't know how far Qbert's gone up, so they've got to clear everything as well. Doing it way more dry now.
Remember, that's more corners to clear, more time to waste.
Reaching the smoke first. Barrier is going to get set up by Giza here. This is all pretty to form. Redux the first clear, and Qbert just turns on it. That is a complete mowdown. They were trying to clear for lane, but Qbert was playing heavy into yellow instead. Maryville just continuing to not be able to activate on that pressure point, and Qbert just cashing in again.
Wow. That was a converted, what, 3 versus 4?
Yeah.
Especially with the res coming back from Giza to keep his teammates up and for them to try to go for the best retake as possible. But you just mentioned it. They used that little bit of util remaining just to snake bite on the default spot, trying to clear out potentially util or maybe a player trying to swing out and try to surprise some opponents. And then that wall, I like the idea because it's still blocking towards white, but they didn't expect those players to walk through, and Qbert Academy found that perfect timing. It's their turn finally to get that perfect timing.
Oh, now it's Renz that'll take the early punishment on lane. That's another, yeah, chalk another assist up for Nismo too.
Yep.
Keep count of those. Can't do it on your fingers anymore.
Oh,
this is as close.
Already out.
Yeah, this is the closest that MU's been to the spike getting planted on the fight, but the toxic screen does so much work to just ward him away. Wildfire gets a peek through, but that's about it. And Qbert now making their own noise with the gun diff, and that should be enough to scare MU away again, because the rest of this util just doesn't feel strong enough individually. Toxic Orb again has to be the, again, it's a Viper util that has to do like 99% of the heavy lifting for this retake now, especially now that the Sage is gone. Spraying through after everything dissipates. Let's let Ange get around to yellow to maybe get some frags, but this is a done deal of a round.
And that's the issue. You're trying to, I mean, you had the perfect read to have at least somebody up there expecting to push towards that side. And even if Renz died, you already had some players moving across, but they didn't have the best of buys. Unfortunately, on that side for MU, and even losing this weapon, oh, that's gotta hurt. I mean, the economy is still pretty good for you to be able to buy within this round, but you kind of wish you had a little bit of that extra to get that full armor. Because remember, Satellite had the Outlaw in that previous round, and now he's coming out with an op, so it doesn't really matter that he has the Outlaw anymore. But you really wish you had that economy still to carry forward into the next rounds. Hey, first push potential here from Qbert Academy. I mean, this is just an orb lineup being thrown by the Viper, and I thought they would try to commit towards that a little bit more. Keep an eye on that minimap to see if we have a lineup to break down that turret if they recall it, so you could start pulling out some rotates or keeping some people towards middle. But it isn't the case. So right now, from these positions, even a Viper wall that's changed this time around opens up the doors for an A-site hit for Qbert.
Yeah, once again, as readable as it gets, and yet, can you stop it? Pits out from Ange. Qbert's gonna go fishing on top of it. No sense in not with a minute on the clock, seeing if there's presence in there. But they'll go ahead and turn tail. Start covering the mid swing that Chloric is eased up upon. But MU, once again, I mean, they read this pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Chloric hears everything, so he's calling for the rotate to help. Oh, to help out.
Yeah.
You got to be ready for that, man. Satellite's been opping towards that spawn like he's steal from 100 Thieves. Yeah,
you got to make those, because now Qbert feel so much more powerful on yellow, and by extension the site. I mean, the Viper util's still playing preventative, and Renz is sprayed through. This just feels even more decisive from Qbert, despite how prepped MU looked at the beginning of this round, and hell, the middle too. But I mean, at this point, I think he's safe. I think it's done.
Yeah,
game's gone.
I think this is a timeout as well, if for them to just get the last two rounds if possible here for MU. Because the setup is already there. You see that second line here of the Viper wall being set up on the defense. That was just to try to help them scale back into the site where they had the biggest issue to try to fight against Qbert's utility at the very beginning of these post plans. And yet they didn't have a chance to use it, because you go back into another disadvantageous position trying to retake the site. You're losing guns at the process again. But the main story is you get zero value off the wall because your teammates are already falling down. You've lost map control at the same time. Why is Chlori peeking towards middle when he has all the audio calls in the very beginning? He heard footsteps running towards that B site, so he has to be ready that, or he has to know that there's potentially or somebody watching that flank, or even if he walks solo towards middle, there's at least 3 sets of footsteps in that area, and you can't swing that. So that's just punishing plays coming out from indecisiveness with how Qbert Academy has been playing so well on the attack side. But despite that, no timeouts being called.
Yeah, that is a little bit surprising more than anything, because it just seems like Maryville is not taking into account how much they can get away with when Qbert give themselves away like this. Early lockdown before the spike even gets planted. So Qbert will just throw a little bit of a signal flare out as that gets fully counted down. And with another kind of shoddy buy smoked away, Maryville will try to reactivate as the spike will go down. Pit on top of it. Renz with the Blade Storm cannot come through again. And that first blood will once again go Qbert's way. And I don't think they'll even commit to this pit. They'll stick Knights here and walk out as everybody from the defense is migrated over here. I mean, this is just salt in the wound at this point, Vance.
Yeah. And then the turret never saw anybody flanking too, so they kind of know it's open space for them to take middle at least. They're keeping Knights towards the A side too, so that people could stay anchored up towards that spot. Look at that, another pick towards middle as you're trying to rotate across. Satellite's getting so much value cutting up that line.
Yeah, again, it doesn't matter how readable it is. Maryville just can't react to it properly. And it just seems like, if anything, you stick yourself in and let yourself... Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, wildfire! Hold up a minute. Knight sticks it back, though. Okay, yeah.
Oh, my God.
You're gonna have to go back to that all the time?
I would love a replay of that, please. I don't care what happened that round. Just show me the replay of that game.
Your free cam, ladies and gents.
This is how MU feels right now, just playing this map. Dies of cringe, just sliding across. I mean, they could do nothing in this game.
Yeah, crawling through the mud.
Literally flattened. Anyways, I just wanted to say before the shenanigans happened, is the util play around Nismo again. He stays in that site, on that A site, despite the lockdown. So what he does is he keeps his molly out so that as soon as the timer comes down and you know they're going to try to flood retake and anchor up those spots, he throws the molly so that players cannot immediately move in from MU, which allows Qbert to just instantly reset and go toe-to-toe and fight in that spot. It's just the little things here that, you know, initiators are doing on the side of Nismo that's really helping Qbert take control of their attack side.
Count another first blood for Satellite on this op, and a Hunter's Fury to escort Giza up. He'll only get one. Wildfire does get some ticks on that Hunter's Fury, and Redux's walk up himself won't get anything either. So maybe they'll do even things out, and this null command that's procced by Nismo won't get Qbert too far. You also haven't checked for Ange just yet, have you?
3 kills.
Oh, and Wildfire might just be able to do all the work himself. You're in panic mode if you're Qbert here, and that'll be enough to get Maryville the last round of the half. 3 on the board, almost a little too mindless at this point.
Switching sides.
This Qbert, again, they were pretty readable that whole half. It just felt like Maryville, instead of working that into their practically invincible retake where they wouldn't have to clear as much on the way in, they tried to fight with that level of confidence that they had in the previous game, and they got countermeasured way too often for that to work.
And it took 12 rounds to do what I was hoping for them to do too, to find that pressure into the garage, see that it's there, be a little bit more proactive, not give up too much space at the beginning, and get value out of the Hunter's Fury to allow for them to even get more map control, hinging and covering towards the A side for that final round. So at least it's a silver lining that they're able to finish and end with a round on their side for Maryville University, as now they're going to attempt the attack side. Recon to find some information towards White. Does get shot off right away, but there's no pressure coming through here from the attack side. It's still for mid and A side control where Qbert's looking to fight.
The integral rounds for Qbert to hold on to here if they want to get this map over with here and now. Take us to 3 here in the losers round 2. Once again, Maryville have to win this entire tournament in order to make Ascension at all. So it's a long road ahead of them. Even here.
Bomb grenade out.
Run on with Giza's barrier. Does give a gap or two to Satellite, but he won't work with it by himself.
It'll be a 5v5 retake with a late lurk coming out from Chloric. So the delay has to happen this time around from MU, which is why they're playing so far up in this post plant.
Just burn away at what you've got. Oh, Nismo's head spotted, but not popped by Renz. He can't find it. And so MU go into a bit of a scatter plot to try to meet Qbert as they barricade themselves on, but they've outstretched very quickly here and have lined up their shots perfectly. Toxic screen to facilitate a quick defuse. Shockdot will take care of the first leg, but the rest of Qbert will just press forward. And 3 of them stay standing in their pistol retake. They're up to double digits.
And one of them being the one defusing right now. Caillou was watching from screens for that lurk the whole time. They just know. They just know about these late pushes. What a nice little retake, and all they did was just wait as well for Nismo to get the timing off the knife. I'm not sure if they disabled a lot of that util that was potentially remaining after that knife being thrown out, but that just snowballed to perfection for the defensive retake of Qbert Academy. Now you have no choice. 10-3 scoreline. You get a plant, you go for a stinger buy, but you're not grouped up. It's a 2-1-2. Trying to sell his fake here towards his B side.
Yeah, moving way up here. Chloric almost gunning it too theatrically, but it'll sell. So MU will have a bit of that space available to take through the Jenny. And yeah, they'll just gun it. Dizzy's a little bit late.
Couldn't even land.
Oh, yeah, not even...
The mosh just...
Whoops.
It stayed outside of the mosh pit. Too scared of the punches.
Yeah, Qbert again, feel pretty comfortable just burning away at everything until the well's dry. Snakebite on top of the spike as soon as it's vacated, though. A little awkward, but nice turn from Caillou to find Giza there. Hey, Renz. Gotten way up close and pulls out the pistol as well from hell. Renz and Ange holding it down solo. Nismo having to clear out both on this Guardian, and down to 19 after the first 1v1. MU pull away the follow-up.
There's a good hero play coming out from Manj, the man that got the 4K to end the first map in favor of Maryville University. But this time with the full buy that they came through with whatever they could muster up. Stingers across the board for most of them. And thankfully for Qbert Academy, they also heavily invested. They didn't have too much going into this current round right here. You'll see the Gamble's going to potentially come through. Do they want to try to buy back against it because of the amount of rounds they have ahead? But it looks like they do want to play the long game because the next round is a rifle round with a Thrash. And you start with 4 players lining up. Actually, all 5.
Yeah, they're all here. Ren's hoping for a collat with that kind of view, but he'll settle for 2. And keep it going.
Smirking for those kills. And gets the Bladestorm for the next round himself.
Knights is cheesing, dude. He's having more fun than Ren's is there.
Yeah, I wanted to mention he was smirking as well when they're rotating back from the attack on the defensive side. Or not the attack side, sorry, from A to B. So these guys are probably just talking about their Saturdays while they're just playing an important game.
Yeah, no, Qbert Academy is definitely having a good time for this while Maryville is fighting for their lives. And they're also, again, it's always important to mention at what point in school the school team is at. The year just started for them. They're moving into dorms. They're getting classes set up. They're getting all their syllabi. Like it is a busy week or two right in the playoffs for these Maryville University guys. So real props for the amount of preparation that they still came into this match with, and the amount that they no doubt have for the rest of this playoff should they continue to move on for them. You know, it's clear how much they want this aside from how much they're working outside of this game.
Yeah, I'm still hoping that Maryville University is able to turn up here on the attack side because it's going from syllabi to lullaby with how Qbert's been looking so good so far, especially now that the money's back. Remember, we talked about the Thrash available. There's a Bladestorm though from Ren's.
That's an artistic lead up, but no kill off of it, just allowing the chauffeur Giza to step up, and he has always been active in that kill feed. There's enough of a front line to shut down that first clamor, but MU just keep barraging and have the site now with 2 members of Qbert standing. Knight's gonna use the bite now, actually, a little strange. And also, again, not covering, so it's just to get him on, and he's alone at the moment. Satellite is still getting over to the Heaven Peak.
No.
Almost a little too messy, but Knights will manage 2, in fact, after Clorix giving that backstab, and Wildfire misses his window. That'll probably be it. The lineup almost awkward again, but yeah, that'll be 11 for Qbert Academy.
Where's the communication this time around? They drone for control. The other one's watching towards screens. The other one's watching from pipes over to the right side. But the gap is that mid part of that site of A, the 410. Free backstab kill. You already have the audio cue of where the last person was at, being Wildfire, sorry, because you heard him drone. That was just missed calls when the openers were great. Giza just stepped up once again for the team to open up with 2 kills. All those shots were missing from the side of Qbert. But then Knights does this. The Outlaw even hits for 140, unluckily. And it's just unfortunate timing coming out from Maryville University. They can't have anything going at all. But
just 2 rounds out from taking us to 3. These little moments that Maryville slips by, huge in a map like Icebox, where there's so much of an opening when you give even 1 crevice away.
Thankfully, though, 10 right to round 1 here by Qbert is still such a broken buy going to round number 17, while you have the strongest one out for MU with the Hunter's Fury. So the swing round is still available, especially with that first pick.
It's the kind of thing Maryville were waiting for, some sort of stack they could peek into, and that was the perfect timing to catch Caillou. So now Maryville feel a little more confident to go for some aggression, but Qbert are here to meet it early on in yellow, and I mean, Knights is still here. Ren's, yeah, freely able to grab that one, and the ladder files on in. Ren's just given a complete audience, almost the ace, in fact, to give Maryville their 6th round.
Yeah, that's 2 4Ks within 2 rounds of the half now, or at least for 2 times in this half. Although they are anti-ecos, you'll take it for sure. It gets you closer to that Bladestorm. And then potentially, hopefully, the comeback. Oh, those were at least clean shots, though, despite the anti-eco. That was very, very snappy from the duelist. Now 5 rounds separates these 2 teams before we're able to tie up the game. But here is at least a swing round for Qbert Academy. 3 ults on the defense. Knight's not leveraging the pit to cover up the 410. They're actually utilizing KJ's util to hold up towards this A site.
They're really going for slowdown, like manual slowdown. Like
double flash.
They've got this big setup on A to deter the MU push, and they shut down that recon bolt so they couldn't confidently take over the nest as well. And then they've got this 3-stack right on top of the lane so that you can make enough noise just to slow down MU if they actually go for the push on the perceived weaker side.
There's double flash potentially with the Thrash too to just take control of the garage and white if MU wanted to pivot towards that site. But they were just playing contact. You just mentioned it here. The util is still up in forward positions for Qbert Academy for them to get all of that, especially now that the knife gets a lot.
Had such great timing with the knife. Nismo just impeccable with it as always. And now the toxic screen. I mean, you can't counteract it. You've just got to contact. And MU will. They don't have too much of a clearing, too much of a visage, and they have to duck back into the screen that Redux is able to fully swing off of into. And yeah, that's a very decisive defensive round from them. No gaps in the minds of Qbert Academy there. They double their lead now, 12-6, 6 rounds of game point to take us to map 3, despite the amount that MU still has in this kit. It doesn't feel like they can come up with anything to really breach through this at the moment.
That's Nismo again with another assist from a flash for that retake hold.
17.
Knife gets a lot, flash gets a lot, and then they even shut down a lurk on middle again without having to use any of these ults. This is potentially just corrode in the cards.
Not even
Same
a toppler
setup
here for Qbert either. So, yeah, I mean, they can play a little unsafe this time. Knife thrown mega early here to see if it can catch anybody on the entrance from A, but it actually doesn't get the best radius. So,
yeah,
MU get a little extra space earlier on. So, Qbert, I think Nismo is aware of that, so he'll call Satellite over a little early too. Is already not the best macro for the entrance of the round. And again, with something like Icebox, that's just such an easy opening. Yeah, MU see that as their time. They can put the spike down pretty easily and pit off of it as well.
Getting a lockdown just by 410 would be quite good, but it looks like Satellite's just going to use it towards screens.
Friends, another great pop out. Almost clocked instantly by Nismo too. Good tracking after that tailwind. And now it's Knights that rises to the occasion and is able to take care of that jet. You've got to send a new man packing, especially with the help of that defensive lockdown. Hunter's Fury here a little late, but Wildfire can still find the pick on the spike, and Qbert forced to press forward on top of the fight. So Satellite left alone, and hey, don't die to that. Come on, buddy.
Die to the other one.
Yeah, still got one more in the tank. Oh, holds Chloric at least. Well done. So yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, that was an early knife that didn't catch anything, and MU turned that into a push like instantly. And then with the help of the Viper's Pit, you're able to sort of just cycle through the kill feed from there.
If anything, it was a very nice pick coming out from Renz. From top 410 right onto Caillou, because you already saw that Qbert Academy were trying to set up. I was just talking about an ult here a little bit deeper inside the A site for the lockdown would have been good because you really flush them outside of the pit. But they played it out towards screen so you could try to get a Thrash to really clear inside that pit and scale up with it. But it was perfect from that pick from Renz. You take that out of the equation. It allows for you to get a chaotic, but it's still a round in your favor with 2 players alive. And now another big fight. 4 players trying to fight back towards this A side. The trap set that they're trying to do towards yellow is not working out, and that's miscomms.
Yeah, nothing on that belt. Renz again, a free kill, and yeah, let's keep it going. Why not? Hand it all over. This is the big toppler for Qbert too. This is an easy path to 9-12 for MU if they take it here. Luckily though, able to at least grab a couple of the other openers. And Renz is in fact gone now. Satellite gets away with the freebie too. So Wildfire having to do a lot of the dirty work before Giza even gets there. Does still have the res though, so it'll be another full-fledged 3v3 as Qbert and I'll play their own little bit of slowdown. Satellite, nice first nano swarm just to get the rest of the pack here for the early fight.
Still a dangerous res. He walled off his teammate with the spike. The Wildfire had to like backpedal and get a safe plant towards the end. But still KO ult. The retake from Qbert is quick.
This is a fun wall from Giza, just trying to play so many different angles at once, but it's so well watched by Nismo, and now Qbert can just extend. Knight's gonna be the first leg of this flash, and again, it's beautifully assisted by Nismo. No more in the tank though, gotta be just this fully fledged 2v1 to take this game here and now. Satellite won't do it on his own, and Wildfire gets a free 1v2, 13 HP in the bank, and another round that MU hold on to.
On that retake, on that 3 versus 2 that Maryville should have had. And this time, though, with the punishment that MU did on the miscoms from Cubert's setup on the A side aggression, turns out in their favor, breaks the economy for Cubert Academy in round 21. And all of them moving forward as a group trying to just fight towards the anchored spots. Where Cubert seems to be, usually in these rounds, quite aggressive under the Viper orb that just got popped up here just by White.
Normally so on top of this, so MU is going to keep taking it slow. And they'll even, head back out after the stack is set up. Oh, no. Just picking who to insert on the flank watch until they all come in. What a dump! How is that timed so well? Knights takes the initiative on top of the flash into now the thrash from Caillou, and that'll catch 2 in the pool. So MU extra pressured at the moment. Oh, maybe it might have gotten burned before it actually procced. So Cubert will just gain space off of it instead.
The surprise factor is gone. Still, Knights is still there with a rifle to fight with the team, and finally he decides to pull back for a bit. Ooh, just got spotted. But that's the tell that MU wants to re-hit towards the B side. There's still 4 players here from Cubert.
Yeah, no time to double back. Cubert knows it. Oh no.
They are.
Maybe they will. Oh, maybe there is enough time.
That's alarm button nanoswarms. They're in a forward position on both sides of the site. Once the hit is coming through, that's going to be delayed here just within the site from satellite.
Yeah.
Are they going to win the round with that?
This is so odd. Cloric trying to play policeman in the mid and not getting good timing at all. The nanoswarm and Ange himself on the site trying to burn away it all, but the spike doesn't have enough time to go down, and there's members of Cubert still standing. What an unconventional way to win a round and a game, but Cubert Academy will certainly take it as we'll head to Corrode.